All right, well, Annie, do you want to give an intro, or I can go ahead and just jump in?
Yeah, I'll just say hello and welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Annie Johansson. I am on the Fivetran field marketing team, so you'll see me in the background here. But let me know if you have any questions. Like they said, the chat is open and waiting for all of your burning questions, or feel free to hop off mute. But Jesse, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Annie. Yeah, good day, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So I'm Jesse McCabe, Director of Product Marketing here at Fivetran. I'm excited to be joined by Kelly, who's from one of our partners, Hashmap, and will be my co-pilot here throughout our lunch and learn session today. So Kelly, I'll kick it over to you, let you introduce yourself and Hashmap.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. Thanks, Annie. Love partnering up with you, and looking forward to today. I'm Kelly Kohlleffel with Hashmap, look after go-to-market for us, and been working with data for a long time, about 30 years now. Looking forward to the conversation today. As Jesse said, we love to get questions, love to get feedback, comments on what's going on in your environment, in your world, challenges you're having, gaps you're trying to fill, what's working well, what's not. Let us know. We would love to talk about that with you. So looking forward to today.
Amazing. All right, welcome, Kelly. Happy to be here with you as well. Once again, here we go. So yeah, welcome everybody once again to our virtual session. Our focus for today is going to be on understanding the value of a modern data stack. So let me just get to our agenda. We got through the introductions piece, often the most challenging one. But I'm going to kick things off after that, and I'm going to discuss some challenges that our customers are seeing around legacy data architectures. From there, we'll move into discussing what is the modern data stack and how does Fivetran help enable adoption of this modern data stack. Next, I'll kick it over to Kelly again, and he will give you the Hashmap perspective on the modern data stack and provide some great customer examples around, business outcomes that some of his clients have achieved as a result of really adopting this modern data stack type approach. As Kelly mentioned, and we talked about before, would love for this to be interactive. So please submit questions, and feel free to we'll ask also a couple questions, and feel free to provide some responses there in that chat window. All right, I think we can get started here then. So to kick things off, here's some data from a survey that we helped commission that was targeted at identifying some of the challenges companies, and in particular data engineers, are facing. Some of the most interesting results include the fact that 98% of companies indicated that their data pipelines break frequently. They're on the left, and typically monthly as well. And 20% even indicated they break weekly. So definitely some challenges there. 68% of data engineers don't have time to extract value from data, likely because they're fixing some of those broken pipelines. 44% of companies indicated that key data is not yet usable for decision making. And finally, as a result of all this, 59% of organizations reported delayed decisions or lost opportunities really due to those broken pipelines. So in reviewing all of this, right, in summary, it's clear that data pipeline related issues are definitely limiting a company's ability to make decisions, make critical business decisions that could have revenue generating impacts or even cost-cutting implications around the organization. And clearly, data engineering teams are spending a lot of their time focused on fixing broken pipelines. So question here for the audience, as you think about these questions, do these align with some of the challenges that you are seeing within your organization? And so welcome your thoughts within the chat window. And then Kelly, from your perspective, is this similar to kind of what you're hearing?
Yeah, I think that the proliferation of data pipelines, the challenges associated with those, Jesse, goes right back to the fact that we've got a lot of data silos. We had done a LinkedIn poll, I don't know, a quarter or two ago. We'd asked, what is the biggest data challenge? It came down to pretty much everybody. Data silos, I've got too many of them, too many places where data resides. And when that happens, I've got data pipelines all over the place. And the challenges associated with those that you described with breaking, high maintenance, high operations, high oversight, high everything gets really challenging.
Yes, definitely challenges. We see that on a daily basis as well. So, okay, that makes sense. All right, I'm going to keep moving here to the next slide. All right, so lending itself then to broken pipelines are these complex data stacks that companies have deployed. And many organizations that we work with, many customers are limited in their ability to capitalize on data because they're supported by an architecture that's overly complex and costly. And while this depiction is not necessarily intended to be entirely accurate, it's really, if you think about just the metaphorical aspect of it, it's indicative then of what many organizations are dealing with, which is really this, it's a complex set of data technologies. They're kind of stitched together to deliver data from raw source to the intended destination. Across that integration spectrum, then you have, storage areas, transformation and delivery steps, multiple different tools then that have been deployed within each of those different kind of verticals or silos. And then each of those different connections really creating a point of failure and creating some challenges within an organization in order to not only create a data pipeline, but then to also generate access to that data and generate insights. And then, ironically, the data stack really that organizations deploy that's intended to help gain access to data often creates some additional procedural related challenges that a data consumer or the user in this particular slide must follow then in order to request a new report or gain access to a new data set. So this slow process then often creates bottlenecks that further delay access to data that is required then for timely decision making. So as you can see, creating data pipelines, and I'm sure as you all are familiar with then, it can be challenging. So some of the negative business consequences then that companies need to address from their current legacy data stack include reduced time, or the reduced data impact, or reduced impact of their data team, excuse me. Teams are unable really to keep up with those the volume of requests, needing to build out those new pipelines. Obviously backlogs are created as a result of a lot of that. This then extends the time to insight. So difficult then to get access to that data, difficult to extract the insights that are required. As a result, some of that data then becomes outdated, right? It's no longer accessible. There needs to be a refresh of those particular reports that were run. And then as a result, data is no longer reliable. And so you have a lot of the data consumers that are no longer looking to access that particular data. And so it renders that pipeline, not necessarily, it renders it inefficient. So in an effort then to simplify the data stack, we've seen many organizations move to a more modern data stack that begins with a focus on descriptive analytics and BI. And so the modern data stack then includes support for a wide variety of data sources, right, as seen on the left here. Automated data integration, or the alleviation of manually creating data pipelines, a cloud-based infrastructure commonly focused around a cloud data warehouse, and in-warehouse transformations, right? So taking advantage of a ELT approach versus that legacy ETL approach. All of this can then become the foundation for kind of whatever the output or the outcomes might be, as kind of indicated on the left side, and some of the use cases, as well as any sort of AI and ML efforts, which an organization can then start to build out and leverage as its data strategy becomes a little bit more mature. So some of the benefits here include, again, higher performance and availability, reduced complexity, less number of tools, reduced costs, and also reduced duplication then of effort. So as a result of this shift then in moving to a modern data stack, organizations typically see some of these results: centralization of business data and a reduction of data silos, creating a single source of truth, right, that they can then access for analytics. The ability to easily scale data operations based on that cloud infrastructure, improve data insights, as well as time to insight, and stronger data integrity and reliability based on automated and resilient data pipelines that really minimize the requirements for their data teams. So a question then again for everybody else, are these business outcomes and goals that are these actually the business outcomes and goals that you are looking to achieve with your data infrastructure? And I guess similarly to Kelly, are these some of the business outcomes that your clients are actually looking and seeking?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, for me, I would love to get feedback from everybody on what are you trying to get to today? What are those gaps that you're trying to achieve? I think that, these are all excellent potential outcomes. When I think about as a data consumer within an organization today, regardless of size, I really want to ensure that data is usable first, and it's trusted. Obviously, it kind of hits on your data integrity and reliability, that fourth dimension that you've got there. I think that's what we're all chasing. If I can get a level of self-service around that as well, where I don't have to do a lot of hard work to get at that trusted, usable data, then that's an extra benefit to me. But yeah, I would love to hear some additional outcomes that everybody's shooting for right now as we drive towards the middle half of this year.
Yeah, any outcomes from the group? Any particular business outcomes that you were looking to achieve or have achieved, even from, some moving into a modern data stack? All right, no worries. If not, we'll go ahead and keep moving here. All right, so I want to shift gears a little bit and then focus on the Fivetran approach to the modern data stack and highlight a little bit more about the Fivetran platform. So similar to the reference architecture mentioned previously, I've listed out all the various data sources and data types on the left, including databases, SaaS applications, event collectors, logs, third-party APIs, files. I'm sure there's more, but you kind of get the picture here. So at Fivetran, then, we provide a broad array of fully managed data source connectors that support automated data integration from the sources there on the left into all major cloud destinations, including data warehouse, as well as S3 as a data lake environment. As part of this integration process, Fivetran automatically creates normalized schemas for each data source within the target environment, which can then be used for in-warehouse transformations, right, that are also powered by Fivetran. Once that data has been modeled via transformation, it could then be leveraged for a variety of downstream use cases, including BI and analytics, operational use cases, reverse ETL, which is kind of a common use case now, a lot of buzz in the market around that piece, as well as serving as a foundation then to some of your ML and AI needs. So a little more about Fivetran then. As mentioned, we are an automated, fully managed data integration platform. We integrate with over 150 data sources to bring data into that target destination in a standardized format. Changes in source data are automatically updated within the target destination. Data is reliable based on our highly available architecture with a 99% uptime. And we're also cloud native, right? So SaaS-based infrastructure, providing the ability to easily scale and meet your growing data integration requirements. So one question that I often get is, what makes us different? So some of our key differentiators include automatic data updates, including the ability to accurately and automatically update relevant rows, relevant columns within the target destination. Automatic schema migrations provide the ability then to automatically update new fields and tables that were added to a data source, most commonly in databases and applications with custom fields, kind of like Salesforce. All those new tables get then automatically added into the target destination. So we automatically, again, support just that automatic schema, right? And the moving of data into a targeted schema there in the destination. Automated recovery from failure. So in case of a sync interruption, such as maybe an API outage, a database connection issue, we save then the last successful sync state and start again from there, right? Just to make sure and guarantee data integrity and that actually no data is lost. So our idempotent architecture is the technical term there. We also support a micro-batched architecture where we optimize API calls and queries used to extract data to lower the overall load on source systems during those historical syncs. And then finally, we support extensible cloud functions where after you write an API call to a more customized data source, we handle then figuring out where to place that data in the destination and also then re-trigger any sort of API calls. All right.
Hey, Jesse, I was just going to throw out to you, Niraj was just asking, and it's actually called out something that, talk about what makes Fivetran different. He asked, is it a true SaaS offering?
Yes, indeed, 100% software as a service. So we are a platform that resides on top of a cloud data platform that's out there. Actually, we sit on top of Google Cloud Platform right now. We also can sit on top of AWS, and pretty soon we'll be able to run on top of the Azure infrastructure. But regardless of the data infrastructure, if you're not required to stay within an AWS environment or a GCP environment, yes, it's 100% software as a service, fully managed.
Yeah, I think you can get a sense for it, try it out, because it's just, you get your login ID and then boom, you're rolling, making connections. So to me, what Neeraj asked about, that is a humongous differentiator in the market. There's very few other data integration players that are true SaaS. You've got some PaaS, you've certainly got some other flavors, but not a lot of pure SaaS.
Yep, 100% agree. All right, Neeraj, thank you for the question. So let's see, next one here. Here we go. So as a result of then all of this, when we think about the overall value that we're providing to our customers, there are a couple buckets, right? And so the first then is helping our customers generate more timely insights. And so Ritual, for example, one of our customers, they saw a 75% reduction in query times. That really helped to accelerate business decision making. So it kind of makes sense there as they're able to, kind of reduce the time and process required to get data into an analytics ready state. Oldcastle Infrastructure, they saw a reduction in the time it took to generate financial reports. That time moved from 10 days almost to real-time data integration, right? So again, removing some of the requirements then in order to get access to some of that data. The second main value driver that we are providing to our customers is the ability to improve data team impact. So in this case, Autodesk, one of our longest running customers, they saw a reduction in pipeline maintenance, right, from 3 to 5% of data analyst time to less than 1%. And then Helios, they saw a 4-time increase in time spent on revenue generating activities, right? So some great tangible business outcomes that we have provided to some of our customers. Brian, I see a question there. Sorry. How do we handle when a source table is truncated and reloaded? So I might have to get back with you on that particular question. I know we have a couple other people here on the call, so I don't know if, Kelly, if you have any insight into that one or some of the other Fivetran individuals.
Yeah, I would just say to Brian's question, I see Philip put another one up there too, but to Brian's question, Fivetran does a really, really elegant job of handling any types of changes in your source tables and promoting that up to wherever you're persisting it to, whether it be Snowflake or BigQuery or another cloud data platform, similar to what Jesse talked about earlier. So it's configurable. The schedule is configurable. Everything is there. It's really it's a no-code environment. So one of the things that some of the other vendors are chasing right now is the ability to pick up those changes. They're having to use kind of kludgy ways to do it. Fivetran, very elegant, does a nice job. Whether it be on-prem databases, think Oracle, think SQL Server on-prem, or cloud-based data source like Salesforce or Zendesk or something like that.
Great.
And then Philip had a question too, Jesse?
Yeah. So how do we reduce query times, right? So if you think about the end outcome, right, of query times, and so the time required to get data from your source into your cloud destination and then get access to that data, that's one of the main focal points, right, of and drivers that we provide. So instead of having a team of data engineers that are there building data pipelines, managing those data pipelines, fixing anything that might be broken, looking at source APIs and having to update your data pipeline based on that, those are all aspects that we manage, right? And so we have, again, 150 or so different data sources. We have over 2,000 customers now that are actually leveraging a myriad of different data sources. So if something comes up, if there's an API change, quickly we understand that, we can change that. So your data engineering team doesn't have to do that. And so ultimately, reducing the time required to create that particular data pipeline, and then the time that's required in order to get that data from source into your destination, speeding up then the ability to get insight from that. We also have, depending on the particular plan, up to 1-minute sync frequencies. And so making sure then, again, that data is always flowing through that pipeline almost real time. Okay, great. I'm going to keep moving here. I think I've got one more slide here before I kick it over to Kelly. So as a company, we are now actually over 550 employees. We have offices in 10 countries. The main ones are listed there at the bottom. We sync over 2 trillion rows of data each month. And as you can see, some of the awards that, there's a couple awards there that we've won recently. And then we also have strong support, data delivery guarantee, strong uptime, and a 14-day free trial in order to get you started. So thank you all for listening there. I'm happy to take any other questions towards the latter part of the presentation here. Kelly, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn over to you.
Yeah, and everybody, please keep sending those questions through. Very much would like to try to answer those. Let's see. I'm going to share now. Give me an idea. Is that looking okay?
Yep.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well, I appreciate it. Do the handoff here. And again, keep the questions coming through. Thank you guys for getting those in. Keep them coming. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. Many thanks to the Fivetran team for getting that out. What I'm going to do today, so we're a services partner with Fivetran and just the ecosystem in general. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Niraj. So we're not a product company. We are a consulting services. And what I'm going to try to do today is share with you some thoughts, perspectives, insights about our experience over the last, 300 plus cloud data projects now, just since 2018. We've been around since 2012, did mostly on-prem work prior to that. And since 2018, it's been obviously an avalanche of cloud projects, cloud data projects. So we're data guys. That's where we live. That's where we operate, live for the biggest data challenges out there across industries. Think everything from assessments and strategy all the way through to migrations or new cloud data platforms, new data integration challenges in the cloud or on-prem. So the biggest thing I do want to mention, and we really would encourage you to check out the stuff that we put out into the community. So read, listen, watch, learn is kind of the tagline there. Check out the blog, check out the YouTube channel. Podcasts, just we really want to put useful, technically viable information out there that's going to help people advance and become better educated and really take advantage of these data solutions. So I would ask you to try those out. All right, so some of the things, these are some of the questions that we're asked on a regular basis. I don't necessarily like to read through these. What I like to do, now hopefully some of these resonate with you. If they do, please let us know which one of these or which other question maybe. I need some new ones. Give me 10 or 11 new ones out there. Which ones, put them in the chat window, are top of mind for you. But the thing I would say is a typical scenario for us is, hey, I've got 3 Oracle EBS, Oracle eBusiness Suite ERP instances scattered across 3 different manufacturing facilities here in the U.S. I'm really not doing anything in the cloud today, but I've got an eye towards moving my data estate or my data products towards Azure or AWS. We're not really doing consolidated reporting today across those manufacturing facilities. I can't really get a consolidated view for my executive team for products, for pricing, for customers. How can I do that, Hashmap? How can I, I'm not getting rid of my Oracle EBS ERP systems. Those are going to stay. And I've got other data sources. We use Salesforce. We use other things. How can I start consolidating this data into a place that, number one, doesn't impose a bunch of operational complexity on me, infrastructure complexity, those types of things. Those are the types of scenarios that we operate in, and those are the types of questions that we get. So hopefully some of those resonate with you. And again, I would like another 11 for next time. So keep feeding those in, please. Jesse, actually, let me go back to that. I did want to ask you, is anything maybe not on the list or something on the list, anything that you feel like that customers today are looking for that you're hearing repeated over and over?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the typical questions, right, that we get is this, build versus buy, right? So why an automated data integration vendor versus, why should we kind of build out our own pipelines? And so, we our focus is really on, allowing data teams and articulating, the fact that we want data teams to focus on more value-added initiatives, right? Such as data modeling and business intelligence, like related efforts, rather than the actual pipeline creation effort. Like we can solve that problem for you and allow you then to we talked about generating insights. We talked about cost efficiencies, and so those are some of the things that we can provide. So yeah, that's one of the typical questions that we get.
Yeah, those are good. I think, how can I take that infrastructure effort out of the equation when it comes to the data pipelines? And Fivetran does a really, really nice job of helping you reduce that down substantially. So this is a perspective from us. Again, it's another area. Definitely be thinking about if you could pick out one of these design aspects for your modern data stack, either that you have today or that you're shooting for this year, which one would stand out to you the most? I'd say that, again, over 300 cloud projects. These are the 7 that have really bubbled to the top as we've talked to various clients and worked with our partner community. The words may be a little bit different, but the themes tend to remain the same. Don't let me over architect this thing. I've tried the complex architectures Jesse talked about a little bit earlier. I think there's some intellectual curiosity or challenge here. Hey, let me build this complex thing. It's got to be better, right? No, not necessarily. Let me keep it simple until I can't. Speed is so critical too. I mean, what I've seen over the last few years, if we can't hit that speed to impact or speed to value equation, we become irrelevant really, really quickly. We do as a services partner for you. If Fivetran can't do that as a technology partner, and yourselves internally too, as providing services to data consumers to your organizations, you've got to hit that speed. It's not at the sacrifice of quality. But we just don't have a lot of time anymore to sit around for 6, 8, 10 months hoping something happens. The market will absolutely pass us right by, and our users internally will just go do something else. I think we've all seen that over the years. There will be a lot of shadow IT cropping up. Sustainability, I think about things like Gorilla Glue and duct tape and baling wire and all that kind of stuff. How can I get repeatable, reliable processes that I don't have to spend so much time, effort, and energy on? That sustainability is absolutely critical, reducing my operational effort and workload. Chasing self-service, where, again, I talked about a little bit earlier, how can I get usable, trusted data in the hands of my data consumers that they can get at with the tools that they're most comfortable with? Fivetran is a key part of that whole equation. Security, data privacy, scale, whether I'm a startup, whether I'm a large organization moving to an additional business unit and I want to scale that way. And then every dollar is really critical. I think that most of us are certainly getting much more familiar with a consumption-based model. We do it a lot personally today. We've been doing it with, whether it be electricity or other things for many years. And I think now vendors like Fivetran are doing a great job of providing a lot of transparency and visibility into how can I actually save money around this and give you a chance to balance your SLAs with the cost basis that you have to drive those outcomes. And so, again, I'll throw the question out, what matters most to you for each one of these? I'm not seeing anything pop up yet. The thing I'll leave you with on this slide is that, to me, and I think it was Neeraj asked a while ago about Fivetran being a SaaS solution. To me, Fivetran does a tremendous job of hitting all 7 of these dimensions. And again, for each one of you individually or each one of your organizations, it may take, each one may take a different weight. So you got to put it in the context of what's most important to you. Jesse, any of these to you that stand out that you're hearing over with the Fivetran customers that you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, right? I mean, our mission is to make access to data as simple and reliable as electricity, right? And so, simplicity then is kind of the key piece, right? One of the key pieces, right? Components. And so, customers, as we pointed out, are often looking to simplify their data architectures. So yeah, they're looking for this, data, automated data integration, really to help eliminate time, eliminate resources that are spent on maintaining data pipelines.
Hey, that's awesome. I'll take other S's, by the way. I think one of our customers had said stretchability. So
nice.
Hit us up with some more. All right. Philip had a great question. What does your dream analytics or BI stack look like? In addition to Fivetran, of course, what database, data warehousing, reporting tool? Guess what? I am not going to do there's no Hashmap presentations without the obligatory, at least high-level architecture slide, which this is, but Philip was right on time. Philip, maybe he's seen one of our presentations before. I don't know, because that was a nice, that was a nice segue. I love it. All right, so I'm going to go clockwise, left to right. Data acquisition. So we're going to look at 7 dimensions here, 7 aspects of kind of this whole data process or flow. Data acquisition, number 1. Again, you've got Fivetran. We talked about those 7 dimensions. I'm not going to dwell on it anymore. Look, here's what I will say, and we don't resell Fivetran. I'm not going to sell you Fivetran. All we are is consulting services. And what I would say is make it easy on yourself. There is no reason not to try out Fivetran in that data acquisition space, assuming that you like the combination of connectors that Fivetran has with the sources and targets that you have. Obviously, that's the one disclaimer. But give it a shot. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything, and it is. I think you will be really, really happy. On-prem data sources, databases, cloud-based data sources, Salesforce. I told somebody today, we were talking, they were asking for recommendations. That it's the easy button for things like Salesforce in the cloud. And, the experience you have with that is very, very similar to what you'll have with other data sources as well. There's a number of other ways to grab data via API, SFTP type calls, those types of things. So very easy to configure. Again, to Philip's point, what else is out there? So another SaaS solution that we are big proponents of is Snowflake, another SaaS-based solution, consumption-based. Hits a lot of those, if not all of those 7 dimensions. That's for your compute and store. And Snowflake hits a lot of data workloads. Their claim to fame in the early days was data warehousing, and they're kind of spreading out now. A little data sharing, a little data science. Data engineering, different things that you can start really thinking about leveraging Snowflake for. There's 6 main workloads. I would say data storage. I think you guys know if you're using object store in the cloud, 20 to 25 bucks per month per terabyte is pretty much dirt cheap. You're not going to be able to do that in your own data center. Definitely the way to go. All right, data transformation. So I've extracted and loaded with Fivetran. dbt is a Hashmap favorite as well. It is open source. So there's dbt core. There's also dbt cloud, but dbt core, really nice way to transform and enrich your data. Use the power of the cloud data warehouse, that elasticity and scalability that's in Snowflake. It works with BigQuery and other solutions as well. Great transformation engine. The only thing I would say is you're going to want, you do need SQL skills for that tool. So keep it in mind as you're looking. And there, again, these are, Philip had asked about the dream team. So this is kind of it. This is recommended a lot. Data consumption side, that one's tough because most customers have, Tableau, they've got Click, they've got, Power BI and other things. There's some pretty cool solutions out there, though. You may want to check out something like Sigma Computing if you've got Tableau today and you want something that integrates well with Snowflake. It's a spreadsheet type interface. There's quite a few things like that out there. So hit us up, ping us on that if you want some other suggestions. Also, activating now is becoming a thing where I've got this incredible cloud data platform in Snowflake, and now I want to take the data that's there, and I want to send it back to an operational system like Salesforce or Zendesk or something else to make more of a decision in the moment, not just historical analytics looking back. I now want to make more in the moment type decisions. So that's really interesting. And then lastly, I would say, from a dream stack, don't tie me to any one cloud. Let me run across clouds and help me automate that where my data product development is in such a way that it's repeatable and it's sustainable, and I'm not dependent on one person in the organization. If that person leaves, everything falls apart. So I would say to Philip's question, that's kind of the dream team. Now, Neeraj had another question there on how do you make sure that these cloud migrations are secure, data governance is in place in the cloud, and it's a great question, and there are it's something that you have to take into consideration, especially if you have been operating on-prem. I'd say there are some really incredible solutions in that space as well. I'd say don't build on your own if you can help it. There's companies like Privacera. If you have not checked out Privacera, you should. Really incredible solution to help ensure that you've got the proper data security and governance in the cloud. And I like to say too, you look at Google, you look at Azure, you look at AWS, we're just not going to be able to out data center those three companies anymore. And I think when you look at the even highly regulated companies and highly regulated industries that are now trusting their data into the cloud, it's just becoming a de facto standard that the security and privacy is there. But check that out. Brian is asking, what do we suggest for data ingestion for mainframe data sources that Fivetran does not support? Interesting. So if you're wanting to ingest from, well, this may be a longer conversation actually. Let me ask, hey, Neil, Neil's with Hashmap as well. Could you maybe do this? Could you put into the chat window the Hashmap workshops link? Because I think that may be a good way to do it. I'll answer Brian like this. Brian, there's probably a dozen potential ways to do that, solutions, and I'd say don't eliminate Fivetran out of the mix even with that. Maybe that mainframe data is being persisted into an existing data store today that we could still pick it up with Fivetran, but if not, there definitely are some other options. I like to tell people that don't try to get your single tool that does everything, that super tool or whatever you want to call it. You're probably going to have a couple of things in your bag, and as Jesse said, Fivetran's got a lot of connectors, but they don't have everything. They're continuing to add and keep checking the list for sure. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate that. Hey, Jesse, and on that point, so obviously mainframe's not going to be the most popular Fivetran connector right now. What is the most popular connector at Fivetran?
Yeah, great question. So right now, we have a lot of organizations that are leveraging our Google Analytics 360 connector, right? And so, really looking then for insight into, their 360-degree insight into their customer base, right? And so leveraging that particular connector is super popular. And that's actually then followed by our Postgres RDS. And so definitely some on-prem database related, connectors. And so organizations trying to, take that database, create a more production data source within the cloud.
Yeah, no, very, very cool. Hey, I want to go back to Philip's question because he asked about the dream team for all this. Can I throw it back at Philip and the team? And I'll just use one of these. Give us your dream cloud data platform. Maybe it's one you use today. Maybe it's one you have your eye on. Can you pop that into the chat window? Just curious what you guys either are using as your dream cloud data platform or you have your eye on right now. All right, I am going to keep rolling here. Jesse talked about this earlier. This is a little bit different take on that, but you're going to see a lot of commonality, I think, as well. I think, when you look at business outcomes, the point I want to make, it's not to say, hey, figure out which ones of these are the ones that, are most important to you. It's find one that resonates, that you can drive ROI, TCO around. You can get as high of value, as high of executive wow factor on that as you as you can, but also, do it with the least amount of risk. Maybe time, maybe having access to the data, maybe it has to do with security and privacy. Highest value, least amount of risk. It's definitely one of the things that we, especially if you've got a lot of use cases, we try to help clients kind of sort out and organize and pick off, that quote unquote low-hanging fruit right out of the gate. Yeah, I see a couple of folks coming through. I will let Jesse take a look at those because I know we're going to be running short here.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, hit me up if there's something there that's a question, and then we'll come back to that. So, Hashmap Perspective. So, a couple of things here. Again, trying to give you guys a little bit behind the curtain. How do we think? How do we form up these modern data stack solutions? And I think when you look at the perspective, so we're going to give you three things. First of all, ELT over ETL. And that's a relatively simple one. You guys have heard all that, and you probably heard, ETL. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that. My main point is here, when you're going to transformations in your cloud data platform, like we talked about using Fivetran to acquire and ingest and load, and then I've maybe got DBT sitting there to do my transformations. I want to be able to take advantage of that elasticity and scalability in the cloud to do my transformation. I don't want to have to move data in and out of my data platform. That's where you're going to get some pretty substantial value. So check out that approach. If you're not familiar with it, definitely worth taking some time and getting a sense for. Secondly, not everybody's using Snowflake. Not everybody's on BigQuery, Redshift, Synapse, and other things, but you're probably at least have your eye on one of those. Get to know it. Get to know that Snowflake does caching a little bit differently, maybe better than what I could do with Synapse or Redshift. And every one of these platforms is going to have its pluses and minuses. And my ability to balance the SLAs I'm driving with the cost basis that I'm having to operate under, where I can't just, of course, have 4XL snowflakes running all over the place. It gives me an ability to do that, and I can know that if I'm using a certain type of caching, I can keep my cost profile down. So that's another thing. And then lastly, this data integration space that Fivetran operates in, there are, going back to I think it was Brian's question earlier, there are a lot of folks in the market. Everything starts to sound a little similar after a while, and the option fatigue can set in. We've got a fun way to at least get going on that. So you can check out the recommender from Hashmap. It's 10 simple questions. Plug it in, see what it says, and then definitely check out the workshops as well. We will help you sort through, based on your use cases, based on those outcomes you're trying to drive, what might be some of the best routes to go. So I would say those are three of the top things that I would probably recommend. All right, recent examples. Let's see. I'll pick out one of these for today's talk. I think an interesting one that, and I probably have mentioned this one before, but we had a client that basically said, "Help us spend more money." And that's always nice to hear, but I did have to clarify that a little bit. What do you mean, help me spend more money? They were doing really good with paid search and had an opportunity to go grab additional budget for their paid search, and I'm talking significant dollars. The challenge was they did not quite know, based on how their data was being acquired and consolidated, they couldn't make the decision on where that money should go. They knew kind of as a whole things were working based on new customer acquisition, but they couldn't pinpoint it. And so they were able to leverage a Fivetran across a range of existing sources that had Fivetran connectors, but also sources that didn't have specific Fivetran connectors, but Fivetran had generic connectors, which they were easily able to configure to those sources, persisted those into Snowflake, transformed with DBT, and really develop their KPIs in Tableau dashboards. So ultimately able to say, hey, we're now able to make data-driven decisions. This was the marketing department, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. Able to make data-driven decisions across the various areas that our marketing department is trying to allocate this budget and do it more effectively, more efficiently across the board. So really an interesting use case and a great use of Fivetran for both on-prem, I'll say configurable data sources, as well as cloud-based data sources that had existing connectors there. Lastly, I will say in terms of takeaways, I'd like to just keep in mind, and these are, again, no real, crazy, super PhD stuff here. We do keep it simple at Hashmap, but use those 7 S's. Those are, we believe from these 300 projects that we've done, those are the design principles that are going to keep you in a pretty straight path. It's not going to let you wander off too far. And there are times where maybe you have to, move to one side or the other, but keep those in mind. Really focus on outcomes. We talked about that earlier. Work backwards from those outcomes. That'll help you drive out some of the technology decisions that you have as well. Don't look for the super tool. It's not out there. Fivetran is not even a super tool. I mean, there's a ton of connectors, hundreds of connectors, but still, Snowflake's not going to do it all. Fivetran can't do it all. So the longer you say, hey, I've got to find that perfect thing, the longer we don't do anything, right? So get going. It's very, very easy to get started quickly. And then lastly, I'd say really try to modernize where you can. If you can avoid carrying over a lot of technical debt and those kind of things into your new environment, kind of reimagine how you might want to acquire data and transform data. It's a great way to go. And then, I've told you a lot of things. This is what some of our customers are saying. You can check those out, certainly on our website, but it really boils down to, I like the 4th one here. I feel like we do a great job of mentoring and coaching, not just doing something, but why are we doing it? How are we doing it? What are the options around it? What are the perspectives? Those types of things. So I hope you guys will check those out. And then definitely reach out to us. We help it out in a lot of ways. That workshop link is there as well. I know Neil put it in earlier too. So feel free to hit us up on any of those areas. And I was just looking, Jesse, at some of the other questions. Had you had a chance to review those?
Yeah, so I've got one question there at the bottom from Brian, right? So the question is, any thought of changing our current S3 connector to allow raw JSON data ingestion into Snowflake instead of the partial flattening? So I'm not aware of any updates currently from our product team, but I'll take this question back to them, around, our ability then to support kind of, true data lineage and move that data from S3. So let me take that one back. I do know actually we're in the process of rolling out and currently in beta some governed table type functionality, right, with S3 that will allow us to move structured data into S3 and then allow services currently like Redshift, like Athena, to actually query some of that data directly from within S3. So there's some new capability and functionality that's coming out on that one. But I will, check into our ability to update that S3 connector.
Yeah, I think that's a great question from Ryan too, and I think that ability for Snowflake to deal with the semi-structured data types like JSON, really powerful. I think it gives you a ton of flexibility, and you can move very, very quickly and with those types of data sets. We even work with some customers on kind of streaming type data sets as well, coming into something like Snowflake. So yeah, let us know. Looked like Philip too. I was just curious. So he said it wasn't necessarily the dream, but this is what we're using. So he's given us the practical way that they're going about it, which is great to see. Appreciate that. And I'll just finish it off by saying I appreciate everybody listening in, at least on my segment here. Let me know where we can help. Happy to talk you through, happy to schedule a workshop. Just click that link and go get it scheduled. Let us know where we can help you accelerate your cloud journey and your data journey. So Jesse, that's it for me.
That's great. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, always appreciate the presentation there and your thoughts. So I guess that brings us to the end, but happy to take, we have about 9 or so minutes, right? If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. and we can just take questions and answers that way. And that's all right if there are no other questions.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys provided a lot of good info. No one has any questions.
Here, and feel free, you can always reach out to us on email or LinkedIn or whatever you want to do. I hate to say email because I'm terrible on email, but hit me on a LinkedIn direct message. Jesse, probably the same for you. You can also catch me on Slack. If you have Slack, just do a Slack direct connect, and or let me know if you want me to do it from my side. So happy to get things rolling that way too. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody, for your time today. Really appreciate it.
And we'll be sending out the recording and a few other resources after this, so you'll have that all on hand. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.